The boards of directors of Cyprus companies need to act now by incorporating lessons from the financial crisis in order to head off a crisis of their own. Speaking at a seminar organized by the Institute of Directors in cooperation with the Cyprus Stock Exchange and the Capital Markets Committee, Dr. Maurice Ewing recommended that corporate governance change begin with the companies themselves by establishing a non-executive director induction and education process. As a corporate educator and consultant, Dr. Ewing has traveled the world and believes that the situation in Cyprus is no different from anywhere else. He told the Financial Mirror in an interview that banks and large companies should try to draw important lessons in corporate governance from the global financial crisis.
I think that the single most important issue is that directors, particularly the non-executive directors, should gather some education about risk management. What we saw throughout the crisis were a lot of things which, accusations, let's say, that people made about corporate governance, compensation, these other issues. Many of them did not pan out to be the strongest reasons why these companies failed, why these banks failed. But the one solid factor that was there in every failure and that seemed to tip the balance was a lack of experience and education on the part of the directors, particularly the chairmen or heads of risk committees within the board. I think people are receptive. Cyprus is unusual in two ways. The first is that they've fortunately been able to stave off a lot of the brunt of the crisis, at least until now, which gives them the benefit of being able to learn from the mistakes that have taken place just recently, the losses and problems that have taken place more recently. Also, you have a very highly educated business sector. Particularly, I think I read a statistic somewhere where it's, if not the most, one of the most of the newly EU in terms of per capita education. So what you have, I think, are a number of people that are keen and willing to gather information, to learn how to do their jobs well, and are not simply going to be set in a director position and say, I don't care, I'm just waiting for retirement or this kind of thing. Following on the theme of education, I think that boards here in Cyprus, both for the large banks and for the large corporations, should really consider how they're going to set up a risk committee. And one of the biggest issues, perhaps even before that, is establishing for themselves whether risk management is going to be an important part of their plan and strategy going forward. For smaller businesses, it may not be that they need such a separate analysis of it, but for big companies, particularly those that are involved in property, in textiles, and any of these kinds of industries, or heavy industries, they will need something like that. And I think it's important for them to decide how they're going to take that approach. They should also think about bringing in more non-executive directors as a percentage of the board, particularly those who have expertise in risk management. That could mean in some industries bringing in an engineer who knows something about risk analysis. It could mean in finance bringing in risk managers. Someone with expertise, or some people with expertise, that can give the board a very clear idea on every meeting where our risk exposure stands and how we can avoid or mitigate it.